And the sudden cut of the music means we are now back. Short little break. Welcome back, everyone, to Nexus Commentaries, bringing you some sweet Tespa action on your Sunday night. Now we've got University of Waterloo versus Team GG of the University of Minnesota. I believe Waterloo's team name is Release the Geese.
I'm sorry, I have to write this down because I'm just like I'm writing down the team names and I was like University of Waterloo, and then I just crossed it out and said Release the Geese. Like I'm calling them that all game. Like I'm sorry, like I understand if you have University pride, but like Release the Geese, that's good. It's just I don't know, it rolls off the tongue. It's funny, but
I am a fan of Team GG just because of Minnesota being the Golden Gophers. Just kind of fits right in. Works out really, really well. But it looks like this week's first map is going to be Warhead Junction. And then we'll go from there. But we'll let the teams know that we are ready to get this draft underway. I will, full disclosure right here, I have covered one of the members of Team GG extensively in Chair League when he was a member of Lion Speed.
I got him a couple times too myself. I think I might have stolen a couple of those games from you.
I think you might have actually. It's entirely possible. I have a bad habit of just casting teams I get familiar with over and over and over. But here we go into the game. Warhead Junction, our first map. We'll see how these teams pair up against each other. This is more of a middle of the rankings map. I believe last I checked, Minnesota was sitting around 40 to 42. If they're sitting on 42, then they've got everything figured out. I still like. I really like this map, but it's also in like a hate-love sense. Like I think it's fun because you can do some interesting stuffs here, but overall, like this map is just it's a nuisance mostly because the fact that as you described in the first matchup we had previous to this is there's a lot of cheese that you can run, and I wouldn't be too surprised if we see it here. I'm surprised you didn't get my 42 joke.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You got the Vogon joke, but you didn't get the 42 joke.
It's just one of those things. Like sometimes it's just gone right over my head. And I didn't even notice it.
But yeah, we see the Garrosh and the Dahaka get banned. Two smart bans. Garrosh is just an absolute nightmare in general, especially in the early game when there's not a lot you can do when he throws you high cat. And then Dahaka also, the global presence, those nukes spawn pretty much by every bush or vent, whatever you want to call it. So he's almost constantly by one of those. It's terrifying to deal with. I mean, Caldor summed it up best. Never face check a bush.
I mean, you never know if you're waiting for a Dahaka, if you have a Dahaka waiting, or you have, maybe an entire Korean team waiting in the bush. So those games, I gotta say.
You think the teams would have learned at some point on that particular map that, hey, guys, we're going to sit right here and wait for just one of you to run out, and then we're just going to murder you.
No.
And at some point, you've got to learn.
Definitely.
Henry Hatercat Meowington's the 8th. What are you doing? Why? No, do not stroke the mic arm. That's a bad idea, buddy. I don't need my mic out of position. As my cat decides that he is going to help me out with the casting tonight. We see an ETC pickup on the side of Waterloo. Oh, boy, here we go again. It's like
right off the bat. Literally, the same start that University of Laval had is what Minnesota's doing this game.
Yep, and I believe ETC was one of the first picks for IUPUI as well.
Actually, no, I remember actually poo-pooing this. They actually last picked the ETC because I remember we talked about globals during the load-in page because I was just like, man, they could double global and they ended up doing that, but they just really hard countered that all range build that came out of University of Laval. But either way, I mean, University of Waterloo versus Minnesota here, this is going to be an interesting matchup. And before we go into the ban phase here, realistically, picking up, some damage in a healer like a Rhaegar Vala, Rhaegar Greymane, that's just a very safe kind of matchup and pick. I personally think for this map. Actually, maybe you go for a Brightwing instead of a Rhaegar.
Okay.
Hey!
I wish I could show you off on stream right now with that victory pose. I almost wish I had the Final Fantasy victory music on a soundboard just so I could just play that when you were clearly right.
I mean, just realistically for their draft, it's strong, it's well-rounded, and it doesn't show much. So they're going to ban out a Falstad because they're like, they can go double global and we don't want to deal with it. It's hard to particularly ban something out against University of Waterloo at this point.
It is. You're definitely not wrong. And technically, I am going to expect ETC to go Mosh Pit right here.
Mm-hmm.
Or not Mosh Pit, Stage Dive, just to give them that second global.
It was one of those things like you said mosh pit, but in my head I was just like, yeah, he means stage dive. Like, like I don't know, like my friend does that too. Like all the time we'll be playing and he's just like, I'm gonna take this. I'm like, and then like a minute later I'm like, oh, you mean this? He's like, no, I took the right thing. Don't worry. Like I didn't take Bloodlust or something.
Bloodlust is fun though. Bloodlust makes everybody happy.
Bloodlust is fun if you're gonna go into quick match and you want to like Bloodlust with an earthquake or something, like it's fun to do there, but like it's one of those things. It's like if I'm gonna go into rank mode, like please don't take Bloodlust. Like give me my second health bar so we can kill everyone in this team fight.
We did a really stupid comp one time, which was old Morales, old Rhaegar, Sonya, Illidan, and it was like ETC or something, and we would Bloodlust, then stim drone either the Sonya or the Illidan, and it was just absolute ridiculousness. Like it was. Well, there was so much right click. It was just idiotic.
There was one that we used to do when it first got changed. So you would do, you'd have your Earthquake Bloodlust, then you would also pick up Ring of Frost for more lockdown. And then you could also pick up, I think there was like Artanis was in there for a blind. And then I think you just like flexed another spot. But overall, like it really was around the Bloodlust, Earthquake, and then blind from Artanis. And then you just sit there and wipe the entire team because they can't do anything. They can't fight and they can't get out.
So I'm just going to say it right now. Team Minnesota confirmed for stream sniping.
Literally, I mean, it's almost the exact same draft, different order.
They pick up the Zul'jin rather than something. I think the Muradin. So that's the only thing that they're missing. So they're probably gonna need another tank, or I'm sorry, another DPS or another healer. But yeah, Minnesota is definitely going for the boss cheese strat right here. They're not even gonna lane.
Out of the last matchup, what we actually had was instead of Zul'jin, it was a Falstad with a Gul'dan here. And Falstad obviously being banned out. Now, the only thing is they have the Medevac 10 from Morales, but I realistically see the Stimdrun onto Zul'jin. They have no global, so I would maybe expect that to be their last pick on the side of Minnesota. But this Genji with an Abathur is such a good... Oh, yes. This is absolutely great.
I don't know how to feel about this with a solo Brightwing healer. That's the only thing that's going to worry me about this on the side of Waterloo. Brightwing, not the best. She can make it work. It's going to be really hard, though. But they definitely they have the Brightwing bomb, and that's what's important.
They've got a lot of also good... They've got some good disengage here. They've got the Polymorph 1. You've got ETC with knockback. You've got ETC with power slide. I would look to see them being together quite often. You've got Greymane just bodying you the entire time, and then Genji just dashing through at the same time, and then Abathur with a hat too. So overall, like I think that the damage from Minnesota isn't going to be enough where University of Waterloo really needs to worry about the fact that it's solo Brightwing. And then the other thing that you have to consider here was the Abathur hat, but holy crap, Tassadar just made it through. So that's a whole different beast, and now I'm actually worried for University of Waterloo.
Yep, this is definitely worrisome. They've got the new Holy... I'm just going to call it Zul'jin, Tassadar, Morales, like the new Holy Trinity. That Zul'jin is he's not gonna die between the shield from Zarya, Morales heal, Tassadar shield. He's not gonna die. That's interesting. We'll touch on that here in just a minute as we finally load into Warhead Junction once again. Thank you for joining us tonight here at Nexus Commentaries, bringing you some sweet Tespa training grounds action. I am Zexterus. With me tonight is Mr. Bahamut with that luxurious beard.
Oh,
it's
stop.
It's the beard. It's the beard cast tonight.
It definitely is, and that's what that's a good way to that's what we'll call it the beard cast, and we're gonna go into Warhead Junction here. We're gonna be having on this left hand side University of Waterloo with Esper on that Abathur, Norgros on the right wing, Iron Lung will be on that Greymane, Hamurish will be on that ETC, and Avier will be on the Genji.
And on the side of Team GG. From Minnesota, Chef Daddy's playing the Tassadar. Devo is on the Zarya. StarFox64 is on the Diva. Subnova is playing the Zul'jin. And the solo lane, Morales, is going to be played by Blaze TDB. Solo lane Morales.
New meta. I was just about to say new meta solo lane Morales. And actually, we have a rotation coming down onto that solo lane Morales, who is going to be having Zul'jin and the Zarya with him as well. So it shouldn't be too big of a deal. Just going to go ahead and just get some free energy from the towers. They're soaking up some damage. But overall, these lane matchups here are going to be pretty strong. They're going to have the benefit from Abathur in this lane. Norgos is going to have a little bit of a trouble down here, especially against these three members. But mid and top are going to be kind of held over for Waterloo here.
Yeah, and here comes Zarya with that field of heat once again. Is definitely going to get some value, but they're not getting as much pushing power as they would like at present. They're kind of needing to give a lane up in order to make this really, really happen. We see Esper coming here at the bottom. He's going to try to dual soak lane with that hat. But now here we go. Zarya with that full charge. She's going to be just throwing all kinds of, just chunking it down.
I mean, as much as Zarya can chunk a tower, but overall, I mean, a full power bar is really, really beneficial for her now. And this is where, so I was really, really excited about Abathur, and a good Abathur on a map like this can really hinder a team because the fact that he can body soak while the nukes are up and then hat soak in another lane. So he really becomes this difficult thing to deal with. And actually, ooh, that was a weird dig from him because he's going to be in the same lane as the nukes. Either way, the one thing I want to note is that as they open up these lanes on the side of Minnesota, it's going to be harder and harder for Waterloo to get that value for the Abathur because he will be pushed back. He's going to have to start playing safe.
And as the first nuke spawn, we see Star Fox in the middle taking that middle nuke, and then we see Chef Daddy and AVR in this middle lane. Chef Daddy going Templar as well. He's getting a lot of value out of it right now. AVR, let's check his stacks real quick. Tassadar, 9 stacks
he is
so
at
far.
9 stacks, yeah.
He's got to be careful,
and that's
though.
Definitely, especially with Genji here. He can poke this out for quite some time, but if Genji gets a dash off onto him, that could be fatal. He will try and get that dash there for a second. He doesn't have his phase shift yet. Ooh, there is the hat from Abathur. But this matchup looks like it will be kind of backing off back and forth. A little bit of a push there in that bottom lane there for as we're peeking down there. And they don't really have a nuke, but that Tassadar will get dove on by AVR, and they will be stealing away this nuke. And they actually get both nukes out of this first phase. Or excuse me, no, they trade nukes out of this first phase.
Yeah, really good play out of that Genji right there, immediately dumping that nuke. Diva's still holding on to hers right now. Zarya getting a good bit of energy right there. But once again, Morales, it's just so hard for you to get a kill onto somebody while Morales is just constantly healing them.
No, it's going to be so difficult, especially with the fact though that you also have the Zarya too, who's just providing shields. Now, granted, um, and the other thing too is she's been doing a very good job of making sure that she keeps the her bar of energy up very, very high consistently. So I absolutely really like that. Now, we do actually have another grenade going out from Morales here. And just realistically, they'll just back off and they'll probably wait till the next nuke phase happens before they realistically go in for any sort of hard engages.
Yeah, and Zarya, when she has field of heat, you really can't get into her face like you want, because if she's at full energy or close to full energy, she's just going to shred your health bar.
Absolutely, I completely agree. And as we get into the later halves of these games, that's the thing that's going to be really, they're going to need to worry about that. And I hope that it's something that is considered on their part though.
Ooh, nice little grenade onto 2 from the Morales right there.
I'm just a little bit worried as this game progresses how these teams are going to be just kind of stacking up and starting to explode with the damage as well as just some of their powers here. But we do have a little bit of a damage going on to Star Fox 64. He will be losing his suit. Devo going to be the first one to fall here. Supernova, or excuse me, Subnova, I believe, will be falling as well. So they're going to go ahead and get Zul'jin and Zarya during this phase. And I wouldn't be too surprised I think the nuke should be up quite soon, if I'm not mistaken. So realistically, that's a very strong start for Waterloo here.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a really key pickup. Getting Diva out of her suit means she's not going to be nearly as effective here for the next little bit, but it looks like he's already got it back. Everybody leaving him alone, and Star Fox utilizing the pea shooter from Diva to help burst this wave down.
The one of the things that I just wanted to note here, just looking at some of the talents. Abathur went into Mule, which is going to lend way later into this game. There can be a lot of situations that he can just defend and keep these lanes up. And as you can see in mid, he's already keeping that Mule there, just getting some of the ammo back for the towers, as well as just keeping that lane up so he can have that value, as I was mentioning before. You have Iron Lug trying to get a little bit of poke here onto Devo with that Abathur hat, but they will be going ahead and collecting both of the nukes in the mid position. And that's going to be all the warheads picked up here.
And now it's really on... Ooh, here comes the Dragon Blade out of Genji right now. He's looking for Blaze. He's trying to poke one of these guys down to steal that nuke back, and he's almost got Subnova down. Iron Lung having to go back. Nice little Emerald Wind onto Zarya right there. And now 2 of those nukes are gone.
They go ahead and they get the kill. They utilize one into this mid position. I wish they would have actually dumped it on the tower there. But either way, they'll be able to burn this down. And the other thing to note here is that there was a top camp that was picked up way earlier before this nuke phase started. That's been pushing into top. Tespa's been up there trying to clear this back. We actually have a rotation, though, from the team going up there. I wouldn't be too surprised to see them work down that fort and really start to get this map open for themselves. And the more that, if they take down these forts, it becomes harder and harder for Minnesota to get some sort of retreat, because the fact that, your retreat distance is doubling right now. Their safest lane technically is bottom. And look at that. Abathur aggressively pushing that out, as well as this boss being picked up. This is a ballsy play.
Yeah, this is really, really gutsy on the side of Team GG. But Waterloo very smartly utilizing that nuke to get that front keep wall down. And really, they've got to hurry. Team GG's got to hurry up. They've got to back. Here comes Diva. She's got the self-destruct on the deck, and they decide to back up. Now they've got
to save their bottom fort.
Yeah, they've got to save the bottom fort, but I don't think it's really going to be able to get saved here. This boss pushing in all the healing. Go ahead.
The other thing, too, is that if they can actually get their members into this fight right here, yes, as you said, they will be losing this fort, but it's 13-11. If they can take a fight here and get it at the advantage, the next nuke phase is going to be popping up. not too long from now, I believe. So this is definitely a good time for them to take a fight. They can get that advantage, really start to push up those lanes. Abathur is already in top, just noting that. Do have a little bit of a fight here. Diva going to be taking quite a bit of damage. The Mecha Explosion will be used, but it was kind of thrown away from the fight. That will go ahead and just explode here, but they're starting to chase down a few of the members of Waterloo. We do have Avanar in that back lane. Star Fox will be kind of poking him down. There is the copy of Genji here just trying to get damage onto Subnova, potentially getting the kill, but it looks like it will be cleared out right away. And for a team that has a 3-level lead, they're playing very, very safe.
Yeah, that they definitely are. But now the thing to note is that Mosh Pit and Ultimate Evolution are on cooldown. Zul'jin still has Taz Dingo. I like this pick out of Subnova right here. Ooh, that he gets popped.
Subnova gonna go ahead and pop that Tastingo. Not able to get a follow-up kill. Unfortunately, that will be the Morales falling as well. Genji getting the 2 resets off of that. There will be the chase onto Star Fox 64, and he will be falling. Meanwhile, though, I wanted to note, I said this at the start of that little engagement that was happening in bottom lane. Abathur's been in top this entire time. That keep is slowly being pressured down. There's been consistent minion wave pressure up there this entire time. And one of the things that's been taking shots away, it's been weakening it. And just overall, they haven't been getting any lane value. And meanwhile, Abathur's soaking up. They're getting closer and closer to their 16s. I mean, just noting really quickly, XP total, it's about 5,000 for everyone. Abathur's at about 10. So he's doing work right now for this team, but a little bit of a fight here in this mid. Explosions are going to go out, and it looks like they will just disengage the side of Waterloo.
Yeah, Star Fox charging in right there with that Zarya shield, and Waterloo just going to disengage. They're going to hit 16s, and this now means that they have a 2 talent tier advantage. I would really, really like to see Waterloo just ramp up the aggression right here and just kind of suffocate Team GG. They're in a position to where they can do it very effectively as long as they just keep this 5-man death ball, well, 4.5 or 5.5, depending on your idea.
Yeah, however you want to look at it. It's an untalented Genji pretty much every fight. It looks like how they've been utilizing it, mostly to get in that back line and just kind of peel this team apart. I was expecting a Greymane ETC clone, but realistically, they just, even a Brightwing would have been phenomenal. But realistically, at this point, they're getting that Genji into the backline. He's doing so much damage, and they go ahead and they actually scout it out here. I don't know if they're going for boss or faking it. Do you have a little bit of a fight currently starting 13-16 though? And they're going to disengage right away. The other thing to note, Abathur in the bottom lane with that camp, they're going to go ahead and push that out and get that free fort. More experience going over to University of Waterloo.
Yeah, and now if you're Waterloo, you take this boss, you take it now, you push with it, you finish that keep off, and you secure a very, very large advantage for yourselves.
The other thing to note here really quickly is that once they pick up this boss, they can rotate bottom, pick up the other one. That one's on about a minute cooldown, I believe, at this point. So realistically, they can get this double lane pressure. They can play a really nice passive game and just, wait for the next nukes, because that's at least what it seems like what they're going to be doing. Or they go in position around that next boss for a team fight.
It looks like they're going to push with this boss. They've got that 4-level lead. They've got that talent advantage. They very well could core off this.
It's one of those things. Maybe they're just, maybe they're sandbagging them. They're playing this slow passive game, and then they're going to dive right in with the boss. But either way, pushing with this boss is a strong move for them. It's really late into the game. It should be pretty powerful. We do have ETC sliding into this backline, trying to get some damage out. There is a dual Mosh going out. Greymane going to dive in. Genji going to be diving in as well. They get the kill onto Zarya. Going to dive out. Diva will be using the bomb, and it will be just hitting the boss here. Castingo is used onto Shin, but he will be falling here as well. Star Fox 64 going to be back into that mech. The nuke going to be used by Chef Daddy here, but meanwhile, the boss has been starting to work on this core here. The nuke did go off, damaging a little bit of some of the members here. Star Fox 64 going to try to get on some damage, zone some of these members away. Norgos is going to go ahead and just use that Emerald Wind to push them back, but this core is going to take damage, and it looks like this first game is going to go over to University of Waterloo.
Very, very well played by University of Waterloo right there, saying, we don't care for your cheese. You didn't bring us any wine.
That was a strong game. I want to say they lost a gate and a fort. But they didn't lose. They didn't lose a single hero because there were 0 deaths on the side of University of Waterloo. So we talked about that Brightwing, the worry from there, but the realistic thing was Abathur was just an absolute nightmare post 10. I mean, that was realistically it. Early game, I honestly would have given that over to Minnesota because they had a very strong beginning to the game. But once Abathur got once they opened up the map and Abathur did play that very aggressive style, as we saw him, posturing up, really close to the keep and pushing things up and just split soaking. It was a phenomenal game, and it was just a very well controlled game by University of Waterloo. Minnesota, they played a great game. They had a phenomenal draft, but overall, just Waterloo, they showed up and they really just put on an exhibition of how to play this map. And at least with a standardized comp, too. Yeah,
it was very interesting to see 2 different takes on the same idea with varying results here. But in both instances, the quote cheese comp held that loss. They had to hold that L. So we'll see how Minnesota bounces back in game 2 once they get this lobby set up. And like I said, I've seen quite a few of Minnesota's games, and they do bounce back very, very hard from a loss. So it'll definitely be interesting to see what kind of map it gets picked and how Minnesota drafts around it.
That is definitely going to be an interesting thing here, and I kind of really hope that we get to go back to Tomb of the Spider Queen again. Like, can we have this as a second map again? Like, I think it's just a really fun map to cast, and it's really interesting the different dynamics and different strategies that teams tend to bring there. And for me, realistically, like I just think it's a really fun thing to cast because the fact that once you get past that initial hump of just collecting the first 50 gems, that's when the game realistically starts. You really start to see these teams push in and start getting some of these picks and these fights. And the other thing that we often see is some of those niche heroes, like Diablo. We see him on this map. We see Chromie on that map. We can see Medivh here and there. So there's a lot of really cool stuff that we can see that's just kind of out of the ordinary. And so I'm hoping for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get you into the game. But thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. This is Nexus Commentaries bringing you some sweet, sweet Tespa action. Currently, we've got University of Waterloo versus Minnesota's Team GG. You want to say Waterloo's team name?
Oh! Release the geese.
Yes. So.
Oh my God! It's like things like that. You don't think of that. Like you're sitting there and you're just like, oh, I need to think of a team name. And you're just like, oh, just think of like something from like a TV show or something like that, like a reference. Like for example, there's like Stranger Mings I've seen. Like that's Stranger Things, Stranger Mings.
That's a good
very
one.
Very good, clever play on words. Like some of those things like, oh, that's good and everything, but like Release the Geese, like you wonder where that kind of stuff comes from. But either way, it's still like it's just a good name.
I think Snitches Get Stitches and Zul'jin and Juice are 2 of my favorite names.
Zul'jin and Juice, I've casted some of their games, and I always like saying that one. That's a fun team to cast.
It is. They were one of our original choices for Rec League. They weren't able to commit to it though, and it made me sad. But again, thank you for watching tonight, everyone. We do various. Bahamut with me tonight is a special guest. We like to have him on whenever he's available. But if
I appreciate it.
If you like what we're doing, hit that follow button. If you're feeling froggy, hit that sub button. You get that first blood emote. I did see a few first bloods during BlizzCon. That made me a little warm and fuzzy inside. So we appreciate every follow. We appreciate every single sub we get. So helps us encourage us to keep doing what we're doing. So
It's always a good feel good thing. Like you check your email at the end of a stream and you're like, I have 10 new messages. Like, all right, we have 10 new follows. Like it's something nice to see at the end of a stream too. You know, you put in all this hard work and it's just like it's like a little thumbs up, like good job, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
It always feels good.
Exactly. So we're going to Cursed Hollow, obviously. We see the Garrosh band come out on the side of Release the Geese. And then Team GG decides that, yeah, we're not dealing with that Abathur again.
They don't want it. But either way, though, they go into a different macro hero. And I really like this. They go ahead and they're putting a priority. And I don't know, like as I've been casting more and more, like I've been working on my own macro play and like understanding like map awareness and things like that. And playing a lot of like Dahaka and Abathur, like those are heroes that you definitely learn quite a bit of macro play from. And I honestly think that is a very, very core and a very important aspect or skill that someone needs to, focus on, because having that, you get so much value. As we saw in that last game, Abathur just being around the map, knowing where he can be, where he won't get caught out, and just getting that soak, and it's just so much value he can get. So it's a really strong first pick, and I just personally think he's a wonderful hero here. But ooh.
That's a really
Minnesota.
strong opening. That is a really
Minnesota,
strong
yeah.
opening out of
Minnesota.
the camp control that Rhaegar brings, the global presence, plus the Gus out of Felstead. That's also a really strong opening. They're going back to the ETC and Brightwing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
The one thing I was going to talk about is boss control, because I was like, they're starting out strong with Falstead. That's good boss control. And I was like, oh man, like I wonder if they're going to address this pre-ban or post-ban on the side of Waterloo. They go ahead, Brightwing. That's going to be an Emerald Wind. You can watch to see ETC and Brightwing work together for that, much like how we actually saw Brightwing in our first series, phase shifting on a Genji who was already mid-dash. Like the timing on that was really, really good. But either way, a Murden ban here from Waterloo isn't a bad idea. Looking at the draft of Minnesota, they don't have a tank. They need one. Garrosh is out. ETC is strong. He's already been picked up. Murden's kind of that next pick. He's really strong for the fight, and I realistically think he could potentially counter anything that they might bring up on the side of Waterloo.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. It's going to be really interesting. Yeah, I feel like those are two respect bans out of Minnesota. They really don't want that combo coming back out again.
It's definitely something that they don't want to deal with. And on a map like this, Abathur does work. And realistically, looking at the draft of Waterloo, they could have just gone right back into a Greymane and an Abathur, and the Dahaka still would have been fine. It would have actually paired well into the Abathur on a map like this. They would have gotten a ton of value. Dahaka pushing up the lane for an Abathur, walks out there, Dahaka burrows down for the objective. Abathur's got a nice lane prepped and ready for himself, so he can get a lot of value during that push. Like, it's a lot of really, really good just defensive bans from Minnesota, being like, we don't want to deal with the dive from Genji and the soak and control that you get from your Abathur.
Oh.
Huh.
I really want to see this Johanna take Falling Sword. I really do. Like, I don't think that heroic is getting enough love right now. It's like a 50 or 60% slow for 3 seconds on top of knocking things out of channeling. So if this ETC goes Mosh Pit, that's shot in the face. It ignores stuff like Brightwing's Emerald Wind, so that's no longer any good. The poke range with shield glare is just absolutely insane. It's like 2 monitor ranges.
No, you're not wrong though. Like it is a dumb length, but the only thing that I'm wondering here is, like, Joanna's great, but I personally would have thought of Tyrael would have been a stronger choice here. And I'm talking purely.
Oh boy.
Hold the phone. What?
Oh boy. That's nasty.
15 second global poke. Let's just say that real quick.
That's going to be annoying to deal with.
That's technically, like, you could technically call that like quad global in a sense. Like, just, I mean, the Kel'Thuzad, if he does go in for that Shadow Fissure, I believe is the name of it, he can, if there is a mosh or something across the map, he hits R on the right spot, and boom, you've got, spikes up from the ground. But this Li Ming choice is risky.
Chat, give me your Ming Lees. Let me see them. I don't think it's that risky. I think this is actually a really smart pick right here. Wave of Force is going to get incredible value, if I'm honest. If this Vala goes, for some reason or another, decides to go strafe, Li Ming drops Wave of Force. Well, that's done. ETC comes in with a mosh. She drops a Wave of Force. That's done. So it's a really, really smart way to nullify potential combos. And it does a healthy amount of damage.
She's got good yeah, no, I agree on all the aspects. It's the only thing that I'm worried about is are they going to get the resets that they're looking for? And I'm purely basing this off of just stats, because last game Waterloo didn't drop a hero. So that's where I'm starting to, like, I'm looking at last game, I'm looking at this, I'm like, Li Ming, yes, but she does have a lot of good innate, like, baked in value. But the other thing to consider too is, like, if you're not getting the resets, I worry about that hero. Right. Either way, though, let's get into this matchup. On the left-hand side, we have University of Waterloo with Esper on that Kel'Thuzad, Iron Lung on that Dahaka, Hamish will be on that ETC, Norgos will be on that Brightwing once again, and Avier will be on that Vala.
On the side of Minnesota, Team GG, Chef Daddy is on that Super Sonya. Devo is on the Johanna. Star Fox 64 is on a more familiar role to me on that Falstad. Blaze TDB is on Mr. Bark, Franker Z, Rhaegar, and Subnova is going to be playing the Li Ming.
So we do currently have this. We do have the rest of these three men going to the bottom lane up against the Kel'Thuzad and the Brightwing, and this is just this matchup. This is a lot of assets into the bottom lane. Typically, you don't see this much going. Wow. Typically, we see like one or two members, but they're going to go ahead and just dedicate the 3-man down here. And this is where a lot of our matchups going to be. We have the Dahaka going up against the Sonya in that top lane. We'll have Vala going up against the Falstad in mid. And so down here, we have Joanna and Rhaegar kind of pushed up in the bush, actually going in for a kill, and Nargos taking so much damage from that Li Ming combo. It will be the chain together from the Kel'Thuzad. Falstad will fly right in, going to get stunned out by Hamaj, and they go ahead and disengage from this. But that's a lot of assets put into this bottom lane, as well as minimal gainer value.
The thing I'm kind of sad about is Johanna's still preferring Laws of Hope over that Iron Skin talent at 1. Now, the Iron Skin talent gives her 30 extra shield, 30% extra shield, and on top of that, it reduces the cooldown by 4 seconds, so you get it much more frequently. So it's almost a better value in the long run. If you're popping your Iron Skin consistently, then Laws of Hope will be, just because of how much damage you're able to soak. But Dahaka getting taken down by the Barbarian Princess. Sonya, Chef Daddy coming through right there. Good kill right there. Gives them a really, and with as far as the lane is pushed up, this Dahaka is most likely gonna miss. Nope, never mind. I forgot about Brush Stalker.
So he maybe lost a minion or two, not too much, but we do also have Brush Stalker used, and here's the thing: he's gonna have to make this rotation unless they want to give this up, because it's 60 seconds, and we're looking at, I believe it's like 3:30. You can already see the Dino is making the long walk down in the bottom lane.
He should be able to make it. I'd like to see Devo kind of preempt those change with that Iron Skin, but right now, they're doing a pretty good job of controlling the area around this. The Bark should be coming out, but no. Avar in a lot of trouble. Here he comes. Gets a save. Nargos taking a lot of damage. He's maybe got 10 hit points left.
It popped up, I think, 13 on my screen there, but it definitely Subnova getting that exact value that they want from those resets. We do have this first curse is going to be picked up by Minnesota here, and so at this point we do have just overall, I mean, they're gonna win over that fight, and I'm curious to see how that's going to be progressing in this later half of the game. Now, Dahaka, I believe, actually brushstock back into the top.
Yep.
So we do have Star Fox getting the flight up there just to get the counter push, making sure he doesn't get any sort of that extra value from the lane being kind of empty for a little bit there. Joanna's going to go into that mid, soak that up. Sonya will be working on that camp, making sure that gets pushed into mid, hoping that the next curse will be in kind of top, a farther position so they can get a little bit of value from that. Li Ming going to get pushed back into that bottom lane, though, a little bit. Potentially going to be just taking a little bit damage, maybe even falling. But this is going to be a top lane camp picked up.
And we see
top lane tribute as well.
Yeah, we see both teams did take their siege camp, but there's a little bit. Minnesota does take their night camp as well, and Star Fox is going to leave this one alone. Probably not the best idea for him to rotate like that.
No, it's a little risky, but at this point it looks like they're going to go ahead. This camp in top got a little bit of value, but overall in bottom they tried to do the exact same thing. Dahaka will go ahead and clear that out. Now in mid we have a little bit of a skirmish happening here. Kel'Thuzad will be the first one to fall, and it looks like they'll back off. And it shows right there that I looked at the stats from last game and go, that Li Ming's not going to get any sort of resets, and she's already got 3. So definitely, putting my words back into my mouth here. And Devo just pushing up that lane, bodying so much damage, doing a very good job of just making sure that providing a very strong front line for the team.
You see Devo backing the Johanna, feeling like she's a little bit low on mana and might not be that useful in the long run, but she'll be back.
Sure that you have the next tribute point coming up. It should be here quite soon. So going back and getting ready for that to be strong for them.
Yeah, you always
do have a little bit of a.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
You always want your Natalie Dormer topped off on mana. So I gotta make at least one Natalie Dormer joke when there's a Johanna.
But actually, the Sonya falling a little bit low on top, going to have Blaze rotating up there just to make sure that they don't get too much value here. This is going to be another curse popping up in this top right position. Three of the members are postured up here. Li Ming looks like she is in the right spot. Have to go ahead, and it looks like they will start to poke this out a little bit. Dahaka going to brush stop right behind Chef Daddy. Going to get quite a bit of damage onto him. Going to have to pop that essence right away. He's sliding from ETC, getting quite a bit of damage here. Let's get the win. Chef Daddy going to get dunked, and that will be the first kill in this engagement. Now, a few of the members of Waterloo are very low here. So it's safe. They get the power slide on. Lana should go using the top out of here. I think it's slowing. Actually, we'll get into the out. Follow-up kill onto her, and so they're going to have to make 100% disengage here. And do they risk a boss?
No. They would.
Sometimes you see teams, they play up on that advantage. There's no tank currently. The Falsta, I think, was just coming. No, Sonya was just coming back.
Now, if you're Team GG, I think you do risk the boss.
Ooh. Really?
It would if they had started that boss right after that tribute, the tribute would spawn right as that boss was going to hit that front keep. So
that's true. It's true. Release the Geese though are going to go ahead and steal away their boss, and it looks like they're going to try and time this out with their curse that they're looking to probably get here. It's going to be sniffed out, though, by the Joanna. She is going to be diving onto that point, and she has not picked her 10 yet. She does have the shield. She actually did go into the blessed shield. So, unfortunately, there won't be any sort of falling sword, unfortunately, as you wanted. But either way, this is a very, very good pickup for them. Iron Lung going to brush stock in here. Going to have to use Essence. Going to use the Burrow. Play safe. Actually, a mosh out from ETC. The Ancestral will connect onto Star Fox 64, but unfortunately he will lose that second health bar right away. Avatar going to go ahead and chase away Blaze TVB. And realistically, this will be a curse with the boss pushing down the lane and the rest of the team already in position. And I believe Dahaka has Brush Darker in the next 30 seconds, and that's leaving.
Yeah, that's a really unfortunate situation right there. The rest of the team having to back Esper already on this keep wall, and he's just getting work done. Devo going in, popping the Iron Skin, throwing out the Condemn, throws out the Shield Glare as well, trying to delay the damage from. And we've got a full 5-on-5 with this boss pushing in. There's still 30 seconds left in this. The gust does come out. Smart
It's
gust,
very
mind
early.
me. Early, but smart.
Yes, it was very, very helpful for them, but 13s are also achieved on the side of Waterloo, and you can see them now that they have that. They're going to go in here. We actually have strafe out from the Vala. There is a Shadow Fissure onto Chef Daddy here. He's going to be taking quite a bit of damage. Devo, though, falling really, really low. That will be Brightwing getting comboed by the Li Ming, just getting bodied. Another orb going to be going out, and they're starting to turn this fight around. Iron Lung going to be taking quite a bit of damage, slowed there as well, and looks like Chef Daddy's falling low. We do have Star Fox 64 getting a bunch of burst out onto a few of the members, and they're starting to chase this down. I do not believe he has a flight. Actually, he does, but no gust just yet. So they're going to go ahead and utilize that flight into the top lane, push that back. But overall, really, really good push from University of Waterloo, but a very, very good defense from Minnesota.
Yeah, that was a great defense coming out of Minnesota right there, showing that they're not out of this just yet. They've still got plenty of fight in the Gophers. Hopefully we'll get to see this go to a game 3. No bias. I just like 3-game sets.
Oh, me too. I was actually just about to say I'd rather have a series than just a 2-0. But that's me as a caster, because it's always just fun for me to cast this. But we have a lot of posturing around this boss. They currently are going to be looking to go in for a flank onto those 2 top lane members. That Falstead, excuse me, is just the Falstead. I thought Sonya was up here as well. They get the kill onto him. And at this point, do they go onto the boss without that boss? They don't have any boss control besides the Wave of Force, which is just a small, displacement. It's not, anything like a Junkrat Bomb or a Tyrael Holy Ground.
No, definitely not. And they're just shredding this boss right now. Vala, I'll make a quick note of her build, is actually going the multi-shot build, and that's not something you see every day. And Waterloo quickly take this boss, and they're going to push with it.
So it used to be, I've always seen, it was always multi-shot or Hungering Arrow build. Those are the 2 builds that I've always seen. And with the nerfs that came into Vala's Hungering Arrow build, I'm not surprised, especially on a map like this, to see the multi-shot, mostly because I think that it does get a lot more value here with what they're going for. There is good value from the multi-shot high burst, like single target, but overall multi-shot I think is going to be better for the fight that they're going to be taking here. It's getting a lot more value as a spread AoE rather than just the high single target that you see from a lot of players. But overall, it's just a safe play here. We do have a slide in from the ETC. Amash onto a few of the members. It is interrupted right away. There is the gust out from the pulse. We'll be able to just push these members out, and they just disengage 100%. Yes.
Yeah, that was once again another really good defense. Subnova took the triumvirate talent for Li Ming at 4. So now if it travels, almost full range, she gets a much quicker cooldown. The Shadow Fissure going down at this point. The orb misses. Here comes the Ancestral. Dahaka does eventually go down. Devo is going to go down as well. The shield not able to survive. ETC goes down. Sonya goes down. Bodies are just everywhere. It's like a bad drowning pool song.
God. Subnova a little bit low here. It looks like they're just trying to posture up for a little bit of a poke, but this could potentially be their undoing, as we see Avanar going to go ahead and pop that strafe. Actually going to have Star Fox 64 going to use that barrel roll, going to get the flight out, and will be able to get out of there. Now, bottom lane has been being pushed up this entire time by that siege camp, so some decent value for Minnesota here, but at the same time, University of Waterloo, they just overall, they've got 16s. They're going to slowly push up these maps. Bosses up. They can realistically take this if they they're going to have to take a fight before they go in for the next boss, realistically.
Yeah, and University of Minnesota done a great job closing that very wide gap that they were having to deal with as we watch this Dahaka clear this lane out. They are going to start this boss, and Minnesota, they need to.
They have
get
to know this
16s.
is happening.
Yeah, they've got to know. They're already sniffing it out. They're on their way. Falstead's coming
16s.
out. Yep, even talent tier. This is the fight they need to take. This is where you win or lose the game, essentially. Bala having a pop strafe there real quick, taking an ungodly amount of damage. The 2 chains lands. Mosh in a lot of trouble. A root onto 2 right there. And they have successfully pushed Waterloo off this boss. They're going to take it. They've got the gust still up.
Yeah,
and
they give it over. That's a free boss.
Yeah, that was a great play. The pinball comes out from the ETC, pushing everyone back. Another Li Ming orb as that tribute just kind of sits there.
Dahaka will brush talk into that lane. Going to go ahead and just pick that up. Falstead might have flight, but realistically, I think they're going to get a lot more value from pushing in with this boss into the bottom lane. Actually, Falstead will go ahead and Hearthback going to go ahead and clear out that siege camp that's in top lane. So realistically, Dahaka went ahead, picked up that cursed point. Hearthback, he is here for this boss as it aggresses onto the keep, but there is a little bit of body blocking from Esper, trying to get Iron Lung out so he can try and get a tongue onto one of the members. Chef Daddy is going to evade that right away. Looks like no one will be following up from Esper's chains as well, and they get the boss and save the keep.
That is just an insane amount of damage coming out of this Li Ming right now. She's just gone straight up orb build, and one max range orb is just chunking off like half of her health.
I think realistically that orb they're just aiming it at Brightwing every single time. They're trying to get into that back because that seems to be the first target of every single engagement. And, justly so. That is their solo support. I mean, that's, they're going to want to try and blow it up as quickly as possible. And, Brightwing being so fragile, it's not surprising that's the reason they're going that route. Now, at the same time, we do have this curse point potential for Waterloo. There is a little bit of an engagement here. There is the adaptation used from Dahaki with the Tunneling Claws. We'll proc that as well. Shadow Fissure used from the Hiltazad. We do have quite a bit of damage going out onto Joanna. She get the second health bar from the Ancestral, but they do get the kill onto that Sonya very early in the game. We do have a kill onto Devo, but the ETC will be falling, and then we have Rhaegar falling on top of that. And now we have a chase onto the Li Ming, but Star Fox is getting quite a bit of damage out onto Outer, but Li Ming trying to get one of the orbs onto a few of the members, but unfortunately did not get the kill. Star Fox will go ahead and have the gust for the disengage, and they're going to go ahead and chase down some of these members, and I would not be too surprised to see 1 to 2 keeps falling during this curse. I actually expect 3, personally.
I don't know. Li Ming can clear this out in a hurry. They'll definitely lose 1, but the time the rotation comes in, they should be able to... Oh, this Val has got to stop catching orbs constantly. It's just wrecking her health. The rest of the team comes in. They're going to get a second keep. I guess you're right. They are going to get 3 keeps.
The only thing is, so the top and bottom were very, very low, and mid was the only one that they had to really work down. But a few of the members were low themselves and also still on death timers. But they go ahead and they back off, and they save their... Nope, they don't. Never mind. I thought for some reason they saved the top keep, but overall that is going to be 3 keeps. So that's catapult pressure. All 3 lanes, and they move on to this boss with 20s in sight as well. This is risky. This could potentially be game ending for Minnesota.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be incredibly risky, but Gust is off cooldown. You see Star Fox positioning himself for a Gust play. Yep. Devo right there on top of it. Has to pop the Iron Skin. The damage from Li Ming. Oh, he gets the boss steal off.
He does. Oh my god. And I thought Iron Lung was using Tunneling Claws to avoid that, but maybe he popped up too early. I don't know what happened, but they go ahead. Absolute best case for Minnesota, because you know what? They can go ahead, let that push the top lane. They will dedicate all of their assets from Waterloo. Go ahead and try and that back.
Well, see, the problem with this boss is it's almost already dead, and it didn't even finish off the front wall.
Well, no, that's great. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the best part about this for Minnesota, because the fact that they can split down to these lanes, push them back, get the catapult in a little bit more manageable position, as well as get closer to the 20s.
Oh, we've got a party bush coming.
This is warp goes out.
Are they trying to backdoor? I think they're trying to backdoor.
They get the vision. Dahaka's walking that top lane in. They're already on that siege camp too. Minnesota needs to start backing. They go ahead and start doing that exactly. I think they see the Dahaka and they know that this is a backdoor. But the other thing that you have to consider here is that what's really, really powerful for this is they don't need to backdoor. They can just pretend like they are, and what it does is it keeps forcing Minnesota back to their core. Starting to chase down Iron Lung here. I don't think he has. There is the Gust in the opposite direction. He does currently have Thorough. I wonder to see if he'll be able to utilize the gear. Mosh the cut. Torbo spot on 4 actually.
Oh, Rhaegar does go down. The strafe comes out. Star Fox in a lot of trouble. He barrel rolls into the fountain. Devo taking an awful lot of damage. Here comes the Shadow Fissure from Kel'Thuzad. Once again, Devo throwing out yet another shield glare. Chef Daddy trying to get the kill, but the double death and decay from Kel'Thuzad is just too much, and they quickly burst down the core. Oh, that was intense.
What a bunch of, like, these were just absolutely great games. I mean, phenomenal play. The Li Ming out of this game, I have to note, was just so strong. 93,000 hero damage in a sub 20-minute game. That's really, really good. I mean, the orb build, as you noted, was just doing insane chunking.
Yeah, it absolutely was. That was a really, really good attempt out of Minnesota right there to utilize all that damage. Like, they had the right answers, in my opinion. They just had some minor miscommunication on some of their team fights. Like, they got a little too split up at times, and Waterloo was able to just capitalize on that in spades.
They really did. And Waterloo, as I kind of said it in the second draft, they really have some strong priority on their global aspect and their macro control, because as you saw, that Dahaka consistently was just pushing up the lanes. He was always where he needed to be. There was always some sort of pressure onto the core of Minnesota, and I really have to give that over to them, because they did a phenomenal job of just making sure that things were controlled, the lanes were pushed up, they were just making sure that they were always being responded to and not responding to Minnesota.
Yeah, they did a great job of dictating the pace of those games. And like you said, making sure Minnesota responded to their pressure, not the other way around.
Right.
Now, that second game, Minnesota had some amazing plays, being able to push Waterloo off the one boss, the Gust play off that other boss. Those were two really, really smart plays. And I wish Minnesota hadn't been down 3 keeps. Because
unfortunately,
typically that kind of play that late in the game is the kind of play that just wins you a game.
Typically at that point you see that wipe, and then you just see them, walk on to, they start, they go bottom lane, they take out the side wall, they take out the keep, and they take out the side wall, take out keep, go core. Like, that's what you typically see. But here it's not the case, unfortunately.
Yeah, it wasn't, but we hope to see Minnesota bounce back from this loss. Good luck to Waterloo in the future. We hope to maybe cast them again. And that tonight is going to do it for us and our Tespa Training Grounds action, unless there is somebody who mysteriously wants us to cast later, which has happened in the past. That is going to be a no. Does not look like it. So thank you for joining me tonight, Muhammad. I appreciate you coming out here. Any shout outs you want to give?
Well, first off, to you, thank you for inviting me. I think you messaged me like 2 weeks ago, and you're like, "What are you doing in 2 Sundays?" And I'm like, "I'll be there." So, thank you for inviting me. It's always a blast to cast with you. You're so much fun to work with, and you have such great knowledge, and you know, so much fun to bounce ideas back and forth off of. So, obviously, huge shout out to you, for this, and Tespa as always, and just if you guys want to find me, you can. Zex was so nice as to put my handle underneath my screen. You can find me basically Bahamut Gaming, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, you name it. That's where you can find me. But that's it for me. Thank you guys so much.
All right, and thank you to everyone who showed up tonight to come support their college, support their favorite teams. Thank you guys for watching so much. We appreciate you. If you see the MooBot, you see where you can find VODs of all the games we cast on our YouTubes. If you want to catch them later on, again, if you like what we did, hit that follow button. If you're, like I said, if you're feeling froggy, hit that sub button. We appreciate every follow, every sub. They go a long, long way in helping us grow this channel. Help us, make the stream even better every week to, bring more content. And with me, my schedule now opening up, we've got Rec League, which happens on Thursdays. That's a lot of fun. Those are 6 hand-picked teams that compete against each other that we've personally casted in the past from Chair League. What takes place during the Chair League off season. On Thursday nights, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And then after that, we've got, I believe I'll start casting Tespa games on Saturday as well. I may be flying solo on that some nights. We've got Sunday nights, like right now, where we've got training grounds action. And then Monday afternoons, we've got what we call the Monday Mustard, which is one of the games of Rec League is always on stream. So what we do is we cast those on Monday afternoons, where we get the replays from the teams. We cast those, and it's a bit more loose in its style. We mess around a lot. We talk a little bit more trash than what we normally would about certain comps. I believe I called U-Face Braxis the villains of Rec League for having the gall to run a Cho'Gall comp twice and win with it. And like I believe I said at one point during one of the games was, yeah, this is like every bad quick match ever. You've got this great comp in mind, and then you come against a Cho'Gall, and it doesn't do anything to it. So, but feel free to check that out. Those usually happen Monday around 2 p.m. Once again, everyone, thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Zexorus. That's Bahamut. Thank you for watching, everyone. Much love and Kappa.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me. This is fun. Yeah, let me know if you have any other coming up and you need a co-caster. I'm kind of bouncing around at this point, so I'm trying to fill my week-long stream as well. So if you're ever looking for co-casting, I'll jump on. So otherwise, GGs and have a great night. See ya.